we're talking about a year where you could get information. And national memetias, yes, information be brave or honomwa. A woho. A kwabasa was singing near Konya Kokoshe because they are there. As to where, I think I'm agreeing with you today, sir. We have no excuse because, Sabi, Obi a 1 year Ghana ni, Obi on your Ghana ni, etimi a kokoshe. Ebe shushe yenye history who say, Osajefo ni secretary, asimesi we, ofriha, mamenkoho, menkona menkonkorishe dia. Then we might as well know how to do it, So what is it about us?
I think we're afraid to take this step, and we also think it's someone else's responsibility. In my engagement with talents, that's one of the biggest problems, and for me, that's also one of my biggest pet peeves, where creatives, especially in today with the internet making you a conglomerate literally from your bedroom, you can press a record release. The stress you went through 20 years ago trying to get a record out, today is a snap. There's no excuse, say, mintiminye anase obiejuma. And the thing is we have to do a minimum best to put our legs well. We hear, some people get the plugs. They don't have a conversation. I always say, so there's something you would get, he's too busy. No, it's not true. Lift the phone and call. You will get a chance for us to speak. The thing is this, there's time no day for us to be wasting time faffing. We move.
You move.
Right?
You move. Now, let me get back to this, because when you talk about plug and then being at the right place, it has to come back to your character.
Yeah.
Like, knowing you, we all knew that you were going to be a success story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, no,
you should have told me earlier.
Yeah, because
I'd have been stupid with it for a minute.
Like, you were always at one particular place at one particular time. Like, you were right there when you were needed. Don't you think, sir, becoming that major plug, it's inbuilt. It's something that you are born.
And I took the step. You just answered my question for me. I took the step. Okay, I started being an explorer, asking questions. You can't sleep on your own talent. You can't sleep on... Here, the text of the day was, the giftings that God gives you is supposed to be put to use for other human beings to see. So you, as a talent, sleeping on your own self, cry buanema.
Yes.
Because you've been gifted. You have to put that talent out for people to see it. But if you sleep on it saying that it's the responsibility of someone, just take the minimums. And in the world, people just want people to take the minimum step.
Do you think, sir, I mean, you've worked with MTV Base, and you can actually do a quick survey now who say, okay, Ghana for Dodua, a woho, any, asimesi free crew, so on do any, we must want to do any. Person say, I don't know about that. Yeah, don't want a net saying, but how me share sometimes trace and other things. I mean,
okay. Here's the thing that you need to understand about international channels.
Right.
We cannot be going to have emotional conversations. Dear talent, and I say when we can a clubhouse will be, the media platforms owes you nothing, and take it from me. Max TV owes you nothing. Max Radio owes you nothing. You owe it to yourself to connect to this highway so you can ride to the destination that you're going. All of these international channels serve 52 countries. They broadcast across territories. He was in SA programming. Your programming needs to make sense to the guy who's waking up 2 hours ahead of you, an hour ahead of you in Lagos, or 3 hours ahead of you in Kenya, and waking up at your time in Ghana. So when you look at that programming, you have to make choices. There is no concession, and that's the thing. Any talent that comes to the table to fight for concession, then you're not ready to work with it, because nobody said it was going to be easier.
The reason I'm asking this is because of what you said.
Yes.
Saying that, a friend is saying, as artists, you know, you have to make a move, a
Yes.
step, like you said. Or 50 whatever countries. Yeah, Mejai 52, no, now, you have to have something that you bring it to the table.
Thank
and
you.
then you have to make a move.
And the thing is, we should also stop saying that we actually are not represented. We are represented.
Okay.
How are we represented?
Okay.
How are we represented?
Here's how we are. Even if it's, remember there are 52 countries. There are countries that have never probably had a video on MTV. And I can promise you on Trace, Sound City, whatnot, consistently, there's always a Ghanaian talent in the top 10.
Okay.
If it's not your favorite, does not mean
that
we are not
anyhow-
represented. There's a gentleman who became a chief and passed on, God bless his memory, I've forgotten his artist name. But yeah, he used to bring me his video. That guy never broke through. He wasn't even a radio star in Ghana. But when I was at MTV, the consistency in him showing up and submitting a video, and I'll put it in, and he would get his 1 week rotation. There was nothing to any plug or not. It was just, he gave me access to the content. There was a major act 10 years ago, and that guy held down Ghana, like consistent hit after hit. I went to the gentleman, you've got great videos, give me the video. At that time, we're taking the videos on that. Transfer the thing to that, and we had a conversation. Please buy a fresh dart. Don't use old dart, because dust, ebetimi agada or sunti ekwa enye. Okwa transfer na anane ni secretary or whatever, oko use old dart. Because me who that and I was I do enye fresh. That was one. Strike one. But it was 4 videos. I looked at it, I found a studio to actually watch it, and it was, I think you could, let me submit, because I kept calling and say, Fafu Frobra, Emma Medicoy. The thing went, they loved the videos, and the feedback was, Charlie, but I do a old tape, and if you also send a new one. 10 years later, I'm still waiting.
We're still waiting. The attitude.
So we don't own it.
It's not even just own it, we need to just show up.
Yes. Yes.
100% just being present. Okay, you say you don't have plug. You will hear about free music launch. You will hear about industry nights. You will hear about events. And you sit in your house. You don't turn up. Don't you think that's where the industry got us? For you to get the industry plug?
Yes, yes.
You make it my responsibility to come find you? No. There's just too much talent for me to come find.
No credit. Rudy, no credit. No credit. I will come home. I hate it. Sometime be yenya a year artists, but now how one free a year western side. When buy and a chess out team sa come on they had their own and I make a chum say maybe dear if I made a me a kind of minim no mom say or more eba meti me a catcher almost say as him as he say ni into the moon can is answering. What's a year western? What's a year north? What's a year sunya? What's a techima he found what it? And no more what de papa. But on him send a minimum no a hit for Western region. Only a hit ayate. But you see, you have to submit. Yes. The facts are when you aje baby and na ye be a year a friend is saying yes, ye nominations or whatever they call it. Ye be into no be fan the embra. Who feels so would ye hit into no? Naturally, it has to go through you. There's a process. I mean, that's why I wanted to ask her, say. And I say, yeah, no, how different from MTV for the year. And I say, now let's talk about Afro Nation. Afro Nation Ghana. You are a repo. See how you're doing. Because media, I'm here on behalf of everybody but you. Everybody but you. You know, ti kwaya me faswa. Me ma me nkrofo no. Ehunu se say na etie. Submit it. Rudy is here. Whoever is here, that person is here, and you are there, and you have the material, and you need to push it. Yenti mint na se mambe tata. Ye waduma miss me ye maduma so ye waduma. You know, into Afro Nation Ghana. Oh yeah, they catch any COVID about but still yeah, no COVID about
oh no, but the thing is look, it's a very transparent system. Remember, and the one other thing that sometimes the industry confuses is, you know, newsflash, Max TV is a commercial entity. Max TV has to generate revenue, pay staff, pay for satellite fees, pay for studio fees, hire team. So Max TV doesn't exist for you. So it's a commercial entity. It's the same thing. I'm trying to do a gig that I need consumers to come.
Exactly.
There's no tokenism attached to the gig. So we would always approach talents we think can deliver a certain a certain value to the table. Please.
Who can pull the numbers?
Thank you.
Okay.
Because you see, the moment, I don't like concessions for a reason. Concessions sometimes promote those who don't deserve it. So we should stop fighting for concessions and actually get into it's a 12-round pound-for-pound fight. Let's fight. Because we can win.
So maybe so as a way then my information should I say enum na wo bono
enum de koso bo there be me opinion wo nyum na we no
there be opinion pa Rudy I'm coming at you if you do not have an opinion you wouldn't say that it's a commercial entity and that we need these notes.
I don't have an opinion on the content piece
and no crowd opinion
because you said that like there are people who don't deserve it.
So he has an opinion.
But that's the thing I don't like concessions because it promotes people
who don't deserve.
It becomes a token. I like the fact that we went 12 rounds and I won. And I fought. Listen, so this whole Grammy, what's his name's Grammy issue came up, and after he won, how does Ghana get to the Grammy? I said, you guys are getting it wrong. Nigeria is not at the Grammys. It's Burna Boy that's at the Grammys. Nigeria didn't submit music. It wasn't a country call to say, Nigeria, send us music. No.
It was an individual effort.
It was an individual effort that was done that got it there. So Ghana can't get there, but one of our artists can actually crack the Grammy code.
Wow.
And the thing is this, it's a code. It's a system. It's a play. Who in the world let's be brutally honest with ourselves.
Right.
The work rate of Burna Boy in the last 3 years. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, yeah.
The work rate of Burna Boy, are you surprised? I'm not. I would have been shocked if he didn't hit any of these notes. But then again, let's not get it twisted. R. Kelly is not the Grammy Award winner.
But he is R. Kelly.
R. Kelly is not and never been. And there are weird people like that where the artistry is here, but they've never made the mark year on year when they want to look at it. But in the streets, they're kings.
So it's the consistency, like you said, because I know of Burna Boy, Oko first, when one papa wants to say, Ogosu ye juma. You see, give me two things that you think that, your creative industry...
And punchy bibi enka code enka say. Okoye no. What was the result of Okoye no? He got to work with Diddy. Diddy didn't send it wasn't a charity. We're going to Africa to go and find an artist to work with. No. Diddy heard him on radio, saw him on the rounds. He went to the labels, went back and checked and said, in Africa, if I want to do something, it's Burna Boy I want to produce. Burna, can I produce your album? He's like, yes. So the thing is this, show up.
Show up.
You can't sit in your room here with the best piece of content and expect... I know God is a miracle working God, and when your time comes, it will be your time and all of that. But even heaven cry, we have to fight for it.
Fight to go,
You have to be consistently working to punch your ticket to the space. So I don't understand why creatives think they deserve some creatives, let me put it, deserve a different treatment.
Yeah.
All right. Now looking at somebody like Nas, say can't become for a very long time, the world actually was speaking about it. They saw his work, and right now he got
yes. And I'm one of the people that says that Nas's album that won him the Grammy is Nya. I had a fight online about it because I'm a Nas like Jay-Z. Now, please put Jay-Z in a box.
You put Nas there.
But the album that should have won the Grammy, no, that was 15 years, 20 years ago. And not this current album. This current album, I streamed it once. I still haven't done it again. Because it didn't grab me.
There was not enough
But
content.
the thing is this, what is the measure of Nas? Remember that Nas's consistency in showing up is why people advocated and
That
spoke.
this time
Thank
he
you.
needs.
But the thing is this, when you don't do your minimum, which is put out the product, how do I advocate? That's my thing. I will always come back to, if I didn't show up, I can't have this conversation with you.
Exactly.
I had to show up, so I'll get the airtime, and we're having this conversation. But producers will call you and say, we saw your thing, and then you start to faff about. You think that the media platform owes. No, it's a
Owes you.
symbiotic relationship.
So you got to push.
You
and
have
then
to
So
be
this
there.
whole thing about mum boy no mum yeah say
Listen,
mum yeah like they
it's there, and somebody was quoting national culture policy says 70% of music and all of that.
I'm on fine my
Boss, national culture policy can say, but the biggest country within this country is Facebook country, 7 million users who are consistently 24 hours connected. Please, so which radio station, TV station connects us 24 hours? None.
With folks constantly on that particular. Yes.
That's what I mean by the connection, that we could be sitting in this conversation we're having and I could be on my phone. I'm connected. But when you're out of a room, not watching TV or listening to radio,
you're disconnected.
You're disconnected. So radio has a point. Good. If you're not showing up in that on that platform, then what kind of conversation are we having? You're not putting it out there, and yet you're sitting and saying that the radio and TV. I cannot. I've never been able to reconcile and I know you say I'm savage. I'm not. I've just never been able to reconcile with it because seek, you'll find. Ask, it shall be given. Knock, will be open.
I get the whole conversation, and it all goes down to showing up. I think we sit back thinking we deserve things and thinking that I deserve. What about the other? I know, what about the other? Because I know
Do you
that...
know how many songs are pressed at night?
Deserve. I know of a story. Obi. Akwa adwuma bi so de bia wode the friends and the CV. Ekoto de bia no de koto. Okwa na yi secretary na ka kire ne se ye hia obi a no wasan kwa no waba no wabebisa onipa no muhia obi osi ye hia obi a de bia okọ osi ye hia obi a the last time odu honom osi o ye hia obi a okọ ya yesi o ye yi obi adi ba qualification no ebi ni honom osi ochina meba osi when obi a wo qualification ade achi oba ya osi ye nya obi a that day no buy no na I think the boss of the whole place no ejina no so who is this osi de bia oba ha he's been coming here for the past 4 months bisi adwuma bia ni ha ye yi obi adi but no qualification no de buy no kra and fit osi but is here he showed up and he's been showing up meaning he needs this so he keeps coming so get him in there teach him what he needs to do and he will learn on the job.
You have built a lot
and
of
I think
people.
that is what you're trying to say.
That's exactly what
you've been there. I've seen you walked into my studios in Joburg with everything. I've seen I read where you take go. Your recipe for becoming a modern day star, what would be that recipe at this moment?
You cannot compromise on the product. The product should look.
Finally, what's working?
So your product needs to turn out right.
That's on your recipe?
Yes, that's first and foremost, cook it right. Like, I needed to understand certain industries, so I took time out and I learned about them. So the moment I got a small opening to have a conversation, I smashed it. There's a story in how I actually ended up in MTV. But that's not for today. Then the second thing is this. I've been saying it from when I sat here. When you have the product, you need to show up because you see, in the CV, he was honest about his gaps, but he kept consistently showing up with it. In the end, you know what didn't matter? The CV. It was he showing up that matters. So when you come to the door with a minimum product, it wouldn't matter in the end what you be, because there have been people who went to read. One of the most famous marketers ever in Ghana was actually a chemical engineer. Okay, good morning to Honorable George Anda. He's not a marketing person. He studied engineering in the university, chemical engineer more. But he showed up consistently in the marketing space, and they used his minimum qualification that, okay, you've got a university degree, your head open. But the things that we want you to do, what do? you can get it done. So he entered marketing and he forgot about all of that. That minimum viable product, that's technology people will say, is just your ticket to show up at the door. But as to what it is going to look like, it's a different conversation, but you've shown up. I will cite another example in technology. When they're developing apps, platforms, they say go to market with a minimum viable product. As in a product enough, a demo that we could use, listen to, and realize your talents. But when we accept you, we put you into development and we launch the product and it becomes what it is. So most products, Facebook is not what it was thought out to be. People took it and elevated it, but they had to show up with a minimum viable product. So that demo, that shows your pipes, what you call a piece that shows what you can do. It's of utmost importance.
That's what's
but it's not everything.
Developed.
You show up. And when you show up, somebody's going to take your artistry and repackage the artistry to a level. I mean, we've seen musicians that started off as rappers and we're told, like, you can't rap. But I've seen your pipes. Your pipes can actually sing, switch. But they showed up with rap. And there are also people who got stuck like, no, rap on, it's okay. Rap, your steps are 1, 2, 3. After 3, unko baby. But there have been people that showed up with a demo that's like, you can't be a single act. You need a group. So they built groups on top of you. And they become stars. And guess what? You have the social capital to move to the next and do what you want. So they became a single artist on themselves. So for me, have a minimum viable product. Have a demo. And you can't compromise on that. As your best effort as possible. Go to a pro studio, record it. But after that, show up. And I'm not saying show up as in just, me who way, and I'm say, and I'm the command sign on fee me, do back on fee wa.
We be few.
Hundreds of other people are waiting to say yes. You just need to show up. And please don't take industry gatherings. Okay. Look, bumper to bumper and one day cool. So he hadn't been broken really in the system. List Entertainment just comes to the studio, dumps it around Joy. Everybody had a CD, even the security guy had a CD.
And then
he just dumped it. And I was like, okay, so it was a week I needed to go play Drive. And I was like, this CD, man, who's but I'm interested here. So I sat down and I listened to this. And I was like, this guy's CD is good. Then I heard Bumper to Bumper. Then they did something I thought was super smart for me. There was Bumper to Bumper and there was the instrumental on the same record. For me, that's gold. I took that CD.
You can talk on the instrumentals.
And took it to the studio. The instrumental played more than 20 minutes because all my LPMs and talk beds was the instrumental.
Yes.
And then I dropped the track. What do you think happened?
It's a hit.
Fire.
It's serious.
It's a hit.
So you have a minimum viable product. You showed up at a place. And we didn't connect at that time. It was afterwards that we connected, and he's a lifelong friend. That's actually WizKid's current manager. But it's just, there's no really formula to it, but he made the product available. I'll tell you an artist I won't name. So I was building a big show. There was this act, Nigerian. He wanted to get in. And I kept telling the client that I don't want to put this guy on.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the budget.
All right.
And it's like, no, you have to put him on. You have to put. I kept saying, I don't. And he himself had been harassing me at the back. Fast forward, you know what they did? One afternoon, I didn't know, Rudy, where are you? Yeah, we just landed at Accra Airport too. We should meet up. But then they realized my client's office complex is actually near the airport. They just went straight to the building. They shut the building down because a star showed up. So pictures, whatnot. 2 hours later, I got a call from the client. He's on the bill for this show.
I know.
You see the level of show up I was talking about.
Yes.
He had been communicating and says, because we had done a big one with a competitor the previous year. So he's like, I needed to get on.
Wow.
And we knew each other. We was
That's
like, but I was like, Charlie, your bills are not going to fit. It's not going to happen. So
You
what
just
did he
need
do?
to show
so,
up.
Wait, check it out. The investment was a plane ticket, a hotel in Accra, but it went to, and honestly, I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad that he did that at all. I didn't feel there even was pressure. I had mad respect. And it didn't end there. He went on to do a deal that I wasn't part with the client.
Okay.
But because he showed up and opened up the node for access, things happened. Sorry.
Wow. You know what? We need to ask you to come back. I mean, if so time here, we won't make sure. But like
so I
time.
mean, yes, son, I mean, I think this will be a shame, man. And I would even know.
So the moral of the story is like you have to show up. You're as a hustler, no, your ambition for being number one. So we're gonna go for break, and then when we come back, yes, Max Money continues. Really, that's a bit brave. Thank you for showing up. And on today we will show up.
That's right.
We don't show up.